What's good, Wizards fans? The Washington Wizards finished the season once again 35-47. They lose to the Houston Rockets 109 to 114. Some of the young guys showed out and some of the young guys struggled. We'll talk about that. Tommy Sheppard also had an interview with NBC Sports Washington, giving himself a grade. We're going to talk a little bit about that later. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
So I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 for promo code Locked On. That's PrizePicks.com. Promo code Locked On. So the Wizards now they finished with the 7th worst record in the NBA. They have the 7th best lottery odds. If I'm not mistaken, they are tied with the Indiana Pacers. I'm going to pull up the standings here really quick. They finished 35-47. Yes, the Pacers are 35-47. If I'm not mistaken, they have to do a coin flip for who ends up with the best lottery odds between those two, but we'll get into that later when that time comes around. But Brandon, let's start off with the young guys. What were your thoughts on Isaiah Todd, Quenton Jackson, Jordan Goodwin, Johnny Davis? Which guys stood out to you and which guys struggled tonight?
Oh man, good question. I'm sitting here trying to navigate my earphone and broke on me. Well, first of all, Isaiah Todd started. So I mean that's news in itself because I can't remember last time I saw him play. But he's got some work to do. 1 for 7 from 3, 2 from 13 for the field. But most of all, man, who impressed me the most, Jordan Goodwin. He 22 points, 8 for 14, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. I thought that Goodwin really showed out today, man. Second, Quenton Jackson, man, 19 points, shooting 9 for 13, but 0 for 2 from 3. But those two guys, man, the fact that they came from the go-go and they were able to come up and play significant minutes. And look, don't get it twisted, man. Houston, they rolled with their starting 5. So, they really didn't change their lineup from their normal lineup anyway. So they played a young starting 5 that's played together for a minute. So the fact that you saw this type of production from Jordan Goodwin and Quenton Jackson, man, says a lot. Kispert, you could tell they really wanted to lose this game to a certain degree in the second half because they took him out of the game. But while he was in there, 18 points, 6 from 8 from the field, but 5 from 7 from 3. So before they took him out, Kispert was doing his thing. And getting to, let's see, look at my notes. None did what none did. Cooks, 14 rebounds was inspiring and 10 points. But, he's got a little ways to go to kind of get acclimated to the speed of the NBA, man. From what I noticed from just him playing defense, man, he's kind of quick on that first step, playing D. So he's got to get better with the speed of the NBA. But, overall, the young guys, they played well. I like what I saw overall from these young guys, it was a weird game because, at one point, we're like, oh, they're going to win the game. And you're conflicted as a Wizards fan because you don't know if you want them to win. You don't know if you want them to lose. But it's just kind of what the season's been, man. Very inconsistent. It's just this game highlighted just the perfect picture of the season. Inconsistency. The fact that, we can beat the Celtics, but we can lose. Yeah. So overall, I'm inspired by the young guys, man. We do have a good young core here in DC. So.
Yeah, I was really impressed by Quenton Jackson. He had a couple high-flying dunks, a couple high-flying alley-oops. That was awesome to see in person. Me and Brandon, we were at the game today. So we had a great experience, even though they lost. And we both wanted them to lose so they could get better lottery odds. But Quenton Jackson really impressed me, just how athletic he is, how explosive he is, 9 for 13 from the field, 19 points. Now, he did struggle the game before, but I thought he played a lot better today. Hit a couple mid-range jumpers, was just really good on the fast break. He just showed the athleticism and explosiveness. I really do think he's going to play in this league for a good amount of years. And I think he's going to carve out a good career. I think this guy can contribute and get meaningful minutes. Of course, he's got to get a little bit stronger, get in the weight room, work on the three-point shot. But he can really, really, really help this team out, I feel like. And the Wizards, they don't have a lot of athletes, especially at the guard position. And I think offensively, and have some wiggle and some pop to him. Some step back moves, just kind of can get guys off balance. And I think Quenton Jackson is a guy who can really create a shot for himself. And the Wizards, they kind of lack that, other than really Bradley Beal, that 2-guard spot. So I think Quenton Jackson can come in and definitely help. Jordan Goodwin, of course, he had a good game. He had 17 points in the first half, had a dunk.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
People's faces, hit 3 threes. He was just playing mean out there, aggressive, getting to the basket, a couple fast breaks, getting to the basket, playing with a lot of physicality, former football player. So Jordan Goodwin, he's just really developed nicely coming from the G League. He's had a heck of a season this year. So I've really been happy for him, what he's done this season. I thought he had a great game today. Did have a crucial turnover down the stretch where we potentially had a fast break. Ball got tipped. The Rockets got it back, and that was basically the end of the game right there. Xavier Cooks, like you said, just a little up and down, did a great job rebounding. 10 points, 5 for 11 for the field. Got a shot blocked a couple times. He was going up against Frank Kaminsky, and he was going up against I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing his name, but I want to say it's Boban, the 7'4" guy that does the State Farm commercials, play for the Mavericks. I think he's done a movie as well. So those are some tall guys he was going up against, but some of the passes he had were a little erratic and a little all over the place. So he was just a little you just got to be a little under control out there. And like you said, he's still learning the NBA game, still getting used to the speed of the game. So you could tell he was a little off balance a little bit. And then Isaiah Todd, he started today. Congrats to him for getting his first start. He had 12 boards. So he did a good job of rebounding. Same thing with Xavier Cooks, doing a good job of rebounding, but he struggled from the field. He did. He struggled. 2 for 13 is pretty darn bad. A lot of his shots, though, did toilet bowl out of the basket. A lot of his shots would go down and come out. He did miss a dunk in the first half. He airballed a 3, airballed a jumper. You could just tell that he's a guy kind of, I wouldn't say chicken with his head cut off, but you could just kind of tell he was trying to get used to the NBA game as well. And what I will say, I'm not going to say it's unfair or fair to him, but they did throw him in there the last game of the year where they haven't given him any time at all. Jordan Goodwin has gotten more time. Quenton Jacks has gotten more time. And you can say maybe those guys have just been playing better than him. That's why they got more time than Isaiah Todd. And Wes Unseld Jr. saying that they've seen enough of him. So it's been kind of weird stuff going on with the Wizards handling by Isaiah Todd, in my opinion. But Isaiah, he struggled tonight. He did. He struggled 1 for 7 from the 3, struggled with his touch, struggled physicality, kind of got pushed around a little bit too. So he has a long off season to go, a lot to work on. We'll see if he's even on the team next year. I just don't know. I think it's a toss-up. He was, the 31st pick of the draft? The Aaron Holiday traded.
Yeah, I think 31st or 32nd, yeah.
Yeah, so the trade is not looking too great right now. This will be, year 3 for Isaiah Todd? He reminds me of Chris McCullough and Davin Robinson, guys that were on the roster that just never made it to the team full-time, and they just never panned out. So that's just kind of what I see happening with Isaiah Todd. Just a lot to work on. Struggles to really create a shot for himself. Has to get in the weight room. He's an okay 3-point shooter. He's athletic, but you just don't see any elite skill from Isaiah Todd. So, like you said, Kispert had a great game, but he barely played 12 minutes, had 18 points. If he would have played, they probably would have won if Kispert would have played more minutes, because Kispert was shooting the lights out, hit 5 threes in 12 minutes. That's he was hot. Gill played pretty well for the time he was in there, and Kendrick Nunn, he shoots the ball every time he gets it. 12 points, and that basically wraps it up. The Wizards had a 15-point lead. This is another 15-point lead blown away by the Wizards. They lead the league in that, and from the Rocket side of the ball, Sengun was dominating at one point. Josh Christopher, 13 points. He was getting baskets whenever he felt like it. Jabari Smith, 20 points. Kenyon Martin, we talked about his dad. Ken Martin Jr. had a couple of athletic plays. Tari Eason off the bench, 16 points. He played pretty well. So I mean, it was basically like a G League game. It really was. It was another G League game, more development. Johnny Davis, he struggled tonight. He was 3 for 15 from the 3-point line, 4 for 20 from the field. He really struggled. Missed a couple of free throws, but this was a learning experience for him. He had 8 assists and 6 boards, but man, he struggled shooting the ball tonight. He really did.
Yeah, I mean, there was no shortage of confidence tonight because he kept chucking them. But that's what you want to see from a young guy, man. Like I said, definitely keep shooting. Excuse me. So yeah, it's just like I said, this game was a perfect example of the season, man. It was just a game where you expected us to really want to lose, but then they try to win. It's been such a weird year. But looking at Isaiah Todd, man, he screams Kwame Brown to me, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because I'm gonna tell you why. Look, and this is the reason I say that is because if you look at Kwame Brown, man, look, I say this all the time. If they would have properly developed Kwame Brown, he would have been a 20-10 guy, easy. The fact that he was here when Jordan tried to come back, I believe it was the second, third time, he wasn't developed right, man. I don't think developed Isaiah Todd right, man, because 3 years, you should have known this kid needed to add muscle year one. I mean, his frame ain't changed. So the fact that they really didn't work on him as far as his, him gaining weight, gaining strength, and from that standpoint, I felt like they did good when it came to Quenton Jackson and Jordan Goodwin, man. But I think they failed Isaiah Todd, man. I don't think they properly developed the kid because if you look at his offensive repertoire, man, he can shoot. He can shoot. He just needs to gain strength and learn how to do some post moves and learn how to navigate in the paint. But as far as a stretch guy with strength and knowing how to play in the paint, he'd be a solid pickup, man. So I know you're laughing at me when I say Kwame Brown, man. But, look, Kwame Brown he's a bad rap, in my opinion, man. He drafted number 1 overall. And then, like I said, I always believe that he wasn't developed right. And I see that in Isaiah Todd, man, because like I said, from an offensive standpoint, there's not much you really got to teach the kid offensively other than post moves. He's more of a stretch 4. But so, yeah, it's sad, man. I think his days in DC are done. I mean, because I just don't see, 3 years, where you go from here with him, So I don't see it, man. But now overall, man, the kind of, overall the game, man, it was a really good game overall from the young guys. Just Johnny, like I said, I'm not too upset with Johnny struggling with his shot tonight because he's got the confidence up to be able to shoot. I mean, you got to have confidence when you shoot 3 for 15 from 3. So, overall, man, just cut it there. It's an inspiring loss, to say the least. So
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's just Isaiah Todd not being good or development. It's tough because I mean we weren't able to. I was not able to really watch a lot of G League games. I don't know how he performed. I did hear somebody say that he wasn't even getting a lot of playing time in the G League sometimes. But he played 45 minutes and he got 7 points. So yes, I mean it could be on the developmental side. What's the weight training program? I don't expect him to put on 20 pounds, but he's just got to get stronger, man. I don't know what kind of diet they put him on or weight training program. But yeah, he struggled, man. Tari Eason, there was one time where he just blocked the shot pretty badly. But yeah, like I said, he played 45 minutes and got 7 points. And even in the summer league, I thought he struggled too. And maybe maybe they just evaluated wrong in the draft. But I could see him going somewhere and maybe possibly contributing. But we'll move on to some other topics here, possibly the Tommy Sheppard interview and some comments here. But before we do get into that, this episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. Today I did not hit because I had Johnny Davis getting over 18.5 points, but he ended up with 13 points. Johnny Davis played 40 minutes as well, 4 for 20, so he struggled today. But this is how PrizePicks works. You pick 2 to 6 players, and if they will go score more or less than their PrizePicks projection, you can win up to 25 times their money on any entry. No competing against other people. It's just you versus the projections available. PrizePicks offers projections on any sport that you watch. This includes NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL, PGA, college football, men's college basketball, Euro basketball, cricket, and more. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that easy. Safe and fast withdrawals. Currently operational in over 30 states and Canada. Download the PrizePicks app or go to PrizePicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code Locked On. If you deposit $100, PrizePicks will give you $100. If you deposit $50, PrizePicks will give you $50. Don't forget to enter promo code Locked On and sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100. Yeah, so the only thing I'll say about Kwame and Isaiah Todd, the good thing is that, the bad thing was that Kwame Brown was the first pick of the draft. Thank goodness Isaiah Todd was, the 30th pick of the draft. Even though all our picks are super important, even our second-round picks, you see other teams, how they're using second-round picks. You look at Kenny Lofton for the Grizzlies. If I'm not mistaken, he was a second-round pick. He just put up 42 points the other night. That's kind of what you want to see from your guys developing. That's his rookie year. Everybody develops with their own pace, but that's basically when you want to see a leap from your second-round pick, who's been in the league 2 years now, that's been around an organization, and I just haven't seen it from Isaiah Todd. I mean, you see it from Jordan Goodwin, you see it from Quenton Jackson, and I don't want to just pile on Isaiah Todd because who his career could change, and he could be a productive player in this league. But he's worked out with Rasheed Wallace, He is a stretch 4. I compare him to Rashad Lewis, just being a stretch 4, but he struggled to shoot from the 3. So he's a stretch 4 that's supposed to be able to shoot, but he's struggling to shoot. So, but yeah, that's what I'll say for the Kwame comparison. Thank goodness he's not the first pick of the draft. And then the whole thing, MJ pushing Kwame a certain way. It didn't go well with Kwame. Little immaturity here and there. And then Isaiah Todd, he was suspended last year for, I don't know what reason he was suspended for. So I don't know what happened with that. But I've heard Isaiah Todd is a great character guy, is a great guy and all that. But yeah, like you said, I don't know. I don't know how much time he has left in DC, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, real quick before we move on, man. I mean, a comparison I can make is look at Brandon Ingram. I mean, look at him, for most of his time in the league, he was a skinny cat. Now, if you look at him this year, he gained some weight. And he's learned how to condition himself to that weight, and he's playing some good ball. So I mean, I'm looking at it from a physical standpoint, like with that type of player, man. I mean, another example, man. MJ, when that year they finally beat the Detroit Pistons, what did they do in the offseason? They lifted weights and they got stronger. So I feel like that should have been a point of emphasis for Isaiah Todd, but unfortunately, I just don't. I think he's done. So.
Right. All right. Debating if we should talk about Tommy Sheppard and what he said in the interview. Because a couple of people asked about this, and we'll probably talk about this tomorrow as well. But we're gonna give grades during the season, so we'll just talk briefly about his comment about the incomplete season, and we'll get into the comments because there's a lot of comments here tonight, as it is the season finale. So basically, I'm gonna pull up the quote here. Wes Hall from NBC Sports Watching, he did the interview with Tommy Sheppard. He asked, if you gave a grade to the season assets to Tommy Sheppard. Tommy Sheppard said it's an incomplete grade. And basically, he brought up injuries. That was the reason why. He talked about free agency. But what are your thoughts on Tommy Sheppard saying the grade is incomplete because of injuries?
That is so whack. I mean, it's such a cop-out. Like, really? For real? Injuries? Really? Oh, my God. That's what I thought. I was like, really, Tommy? You went with the default answer, like, all injuries. No, he gave the answer where nobody wants to take responsibility. That's what it is. Because, I mean, there's plenty of responsibility to go around. All right, from a player standpoint, all right, where do we start? The real deal. Lack of leadership. Should not be bringing the ball up. All right, Kuzma should not be shooting the ball 30 times a game. I mean, again, I really don't have much to say about KP other than, please stay healthy. But GM standpoint, yeah, he's made some decent trades, but you just a 4-year deal for a guy that has never played in the NBA. Like, don't get me wrong, man. I think Xavier Cooks, he looks all right, but this is not Australia, man. And like you said, we saw him, face to face today, and I'm telling you right now, he needs to work on his speed, man. Guys were blown by him. And that was part of his, his MO coming over here was defense and athleticism. And I see the athleticism, but even then, with him offensively, he was too slow trying to drive the lane. So, yeah, man. I mean, it's where did we start? I mean, it's such a cop out, man. From they first of all, they failed when they made the goal to daggone play in. You failed from the get-go. I mean, what are we talking about? When your ultimate goal is not even a championship, you already failed. And then and then looking at time. Oh, all right, what did I say? Oh yeah, this trade's all right, but again, you give a 4-year deal to a guy that's never played in the NBA. I mean, I'm just saying, it's so questionable, man. Especially at the position he plays, man. So incomplete is such a cop-out, man. It's such a disappointing answer because it shows that not only do they have a lack of vision, they have a lack of accountability. Totally a lack of accountability, man. Like, really, you're not gonna give anything to the fan base. I don't think we can accept that. Incomplete injuries. Come on, man. But it's enough of a sample size that you're trying to pay all 3. So what are we talking about? If it's and that's what I don't get from this organization, man, is that we know the obvious truth, but they're trying to tell us. They're peeing on our leg and telling us it's raining. Like, come on, man. Like, stop. Come on, stop. Injuries. Come on, no. It's just a lack of vision. That's what it is. And they need a daggone vision. So that's what I'm rolling with, man. I didn't buy it, man. I feel like it's a cop-out. It's a really terrible answer. And a very predictable answer, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, statistics show that they weren't the most injured team in the league. They were middle of the pack for like man games lost. Shout out to Chris Miller. He actually said that in the post game show. He said that he didn't want to hear that injury excuse because it's been used time and every year. Tommy Sheppard says the same old thing. So Tommy Sheppard, his record here as the GM in the 2020 season, we were 25-47. In the 2021 season, we finished 34-38. We did actually make the plan that year. 21-22, we were 35-47. This year, 35-47. Every year, Tommy Sheppard has finished below 500, less than 35 wins every year. And every year he uses injuries as an excuse. Look at the Pelicans. No Zion Williamson for majority of the year. You brought up Brandon Ingram earlier. The Pelicans didn't have Brandon Ingram for a long period of time. He missed a good amount of games. And look at them. They're still in the playoffs. Still in the playoffs. And they potentially could upset somebody in the playoffs as well. And they're playing really good ball as of late without Zion Williamson. Herbert Jones had 30 points the other night. CJ McCollum had 30 points the other night. So they're a team that's able to step up when guys are out. But yeah, and in the NBA, they handed the schedule. The schedule was it was a favorable schedule. They handed it to us on a silver platter. You had 2 games against the Hawks at home. You had 2 games against the Raptors at home. You had 15-point leads that were blown. You lead the league in that. You lost to the Nets at home by 41 points. You gave 100 points in the paint to the Nuggets. I mean, those aren't excuses. Those are clear-cut things that you can pinpoint and look to. Many games that the Wizards had in their hands and lost and got outplayed down the stretch. So I don't want to hear injury excuses at all. I just don't want to hear it. So, I mean, we saw the solid 3 play together. Even when they played together, they had a losing record. You traded away Rui at the halfway mark. You lost your scoring on the bench. So that was a terrible transaction by him. You didn't get much back from Kendrick Nunn at all. He was a DNP, he didn't get any playing time. Really, when we needed him and needed somebody to step off the bench, he was so bad to the point that we couldn't even play him. So that's on Tommy. You made that trade. You made these decisions. And you want to bring all these guys back. Kyle Kuzma said the season was embarrassing. That's how Kyle Kuzma explained it. Why do you think Kyle Kuzma would even come back? And he said the season was embarrassing. You know, the only reason why he would come back is because of money and maybe because he likes his teammates. And that's about it, honestly. So, I mean, yeah, it's disappointing to hear Tommy Sheppard say that. But like you said, you can't put lipstick on a pig. The fan base, we know what this is. Bottom 5 in the fan base attendance or team attendance. And we know it most likely won't get much better. You can't even tank right. You beat the Heat when you really needed to lose. Now you have the 7th best lottery odds when you could have gotten the 5th or the 6th and got better lottery odds. So, it's just another disappointing season. Bullets Nation said it too. Even Chris Miller said injuries were an issue. So that's all I got on that. We'll probably talk about it a little bit more tomorrow too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, man. We're probably going to talk a lot about Tommy, man, but it's just it boggles your mind because they talk to you like you don't know what's going on. Like you have no clue what state this franchise is in. It's just is comical, man. Because there's a lot of reasons. I mean, there's a lot of predictable reasons. I mean, you can look on court production. Think about it, man. Every recap we did for every game this year, I guarantee every single time we either said defense, perimeter defense, transition defense. The same issues. Rebounding was an issue. I mean, turnovers were an issue, especially down in clutch time. It was the lack of adjustments from head coaching. So head coaching, I mean, Wes, I get it. Year 3, we have to see some kind of progress year 3, man, because if it's the same MO that he's a defensive guy. Look, if we're still in the 20s in defense next year, look, that little MO defensive guy stuff, it needs to stop because the defense ain't looking too good these days. I'm just saying. So he's got to step up. He's really got to make that leap from year 2 to 3, man. And Tommy, look, Tommy, if you're serious about this core, then do your job, man. And look, have fun paying all 3 of these guys, and you got Gafford in an extension, and you got Monte and DeLon on contract, and the young guys. I mean, have fun trying to find a point guard and a wing, man. Because again, from a fan base perspective, man, we know what the cap is. We see the contracts. You're telling us one thing. We know that daggone you're not going to be able to sign all 3 guys, and if you do, you're pretty much putting this franchise in purgatory for the next 3 to 5 years, easy, because they've proven that the best they're selling together without a proper point guard and another wing is playing. And again, that is such a whack goal. Like your goal shouldn't be playing; it should be championship. That's it. So yeah, that's what I got to say about it, man. It's predictable, but it's disappointing because why? I mean, dude, just be honest. Why? That's why I'm mad with it, man. It was such a whack answer. So
Yeah, I mean, you heard Pat Riley when the Heat lose or when they lost last year. He called out Tyler Hero. He called out Kyle Lowry. He said Kyle Lowry needs to lose weight. He called out many guys last year, and that's an honest GM. We just don't get that here. Pat Riley's not using injuries for any kind of excuse at all. Pat Riley will give it to you straight, and we just don't get that from Tommy Sheppard. We just don't. So we'll see. Nobody's on the hot seat. They already announced that they're bringing back Wes Unseld Jr. next year. Like you talked about defense. And Tommy Sheppard, he's safe. He's going to be safe probably for the foreseeable future under Ted Leonsis. So we're going to get a quick word from you, Brandon, and then we'll probably read one comment. And all the comments that you guys have in here, we're going to try to read those tomorrow. We do have a couple mailbag episodes coming up. So we're definitely going to read all the comments from today for tomorrow because we're not going to get to all you guys' comments.
Yes, sir. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Ultimate Basketball General Manager. Ultimate Pro Basketball GM is the coolest game I've ever played in a long time. I've always thought I could be a great NBA GM. As it turns out, it's not that easy. And if you had the same thought and have fantasized about managing your own basketball franchise, go and download Ultimate Pro Basketball GM right now. The game allows you to manage every strategic aspect of a franchise, playing through seasons and leading your franchise and fans to glory as they build a historic dynasty. In a simulation, you're responsible for dealing with challenging personalities, hiring the right coaches and assistants, trading and training players, making draft picks, navigating your franchise through free agency and a draft, and all the ups and downs of multiple seasons. All this in a challenging and realistic road game. Ultimate Pro Basketball GM is completely free and playable offline. Play on the go as you want and when you want to. Locked On Wizards listeners get 100% free boost to their franchise when using the promo code Locked On in the game store. So make sure to check it out. To download the game, just visit probasketballgm.com. Scan the code or look it up on app stores. That's probasketballgm.com. Ultimate Basketball GM. Start your dynasty today. So let's slide into comments.
Yes, sir. We'll read a couple of thank you comments. Backs attacks. It says, "Sell the team, Ted. We hate you." Like I said, that's his comment. I'm not endorsing what he said. That's just a comment. That's just how the fan base feels right now. I'm not saying that's how I feel, but that's just a lot of people saying that. John Rads, some pretty feisty comments here. Kuzma, get the heck out of here. GM fired the worst coach in NBA history. But there's some really good comments in here. People saying that John Hickens says you guys are awesome. Once again, thank you guys for listening the whole season. It's been a long season. It's been a rough season. Another losing season. We're just used to this now. Another 35-47 kind of season for the Washington Wizards. Vlogger says, great coverage this season, guys. You're the best Locked On podcast out there with the praise hand emojis. Happy Easter, everybody. So thank you, Vlogger, for watching the show a lot. We see Vlogger in the comments all the time. All the time we see Vlogger in the comments for sure. So Vlogger is definitely not a stranger at all. Denny Doncic says, yes, love from Israel. Denny fans around the world are fans of Locked On Wizards, even though the coaching staff might not be the biggest fans of Denny. Is there any comments that stand out to you? And then we'll probably wrap it up for tonight.
Lots of passion. I'll say that. Lots of passion. A lot of good questions. And let's see. Definitely appreciate the love, y'all. Like E said, man, we're gonna do a mailbag, man. So we're definitely gonna get to a lot of questions now. Let's see.
Yeah, Israel fan, that's a good question. Who do you guys give the Wizards season awards to? I have MVP, Chris has Porzingis, Leader of the Year, Kuzma, most Denny, most disappointing, Johnny or Bill. So that's a good one for tomorrow for the mailbag. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, it is.
I will read this one again. Like I said, I didn't want to make this the Isaiah Todd show, but Deshaun says, I thought Tommy and West were lying about not giving Isaiah Todd minutes, but my goodness, I see why now. One of the worst individual games I've seen by a Wizards player in years. Yeah, it was pretty darn bad. It was 45 minutes, 7 points, 2 for 17 from the field. I just don't know if he's going to be here next year. I don't know if he's going to be on the Summer League roster or what. I don't know. And we'll see what happens in the draft. They do have a second-round pick. Now they traded Rui for all those second-round picks. I want to say they have 2 second-round picks this year. If I'm not mistaken. I got to look that up and confirm. So, I mean, they're going to be obviously they're going to have their first-round pick. So that's another guy coming in. So there's just not going to be a lot of roster spots available. And they apparently believe in Xavier Cooks to give him a 4-year deal.
Yeah.
So that's the guy who's probably taking another roster spot that away from Isaiah Todd too. And Quenton Jackson, in my opinion, he should be playing Jordan Goodwin. Should be on the team next year.
Absolutely.
Too. Yeah, it's just the spots are just they're really gone, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you brought up the second round picks, man, and I mean it's nice to have that many picks, I guess, but again, we're talking about Tommy Sheppard here, so it's like, you know what I mean? It's like you got to question it a little bit, man. It's like going to an anger management class and it's led by Mike Tyson. I'm just saying, like, you really got to think about it a little bit, but. I don't know, man. If it's me, you got to package those 2 picks, man. I mean, you can try to hit on a second rounder, but again, man, if you look at the history of our second rounders, how many of our second rounders have played? I mean, what was it? Yannick Zosa. I mean, I don't even know where he's at now. Is he still in Spain? I mean, was it? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, and that's where I'm at with it, man. If we properly utilize our second round picks, then that's one thing, man. Because there are some hitters on the second round. I mean, Imani Bates, man, formerly of Memphis, who plays. He transferred to Eastern Michigan, but he played with Penny. He played with Jalen Duran. Homeboy can hoop, man. I mean, and he's a target in the second round. But again, do we trust Tommy to make those type of moves? Because I think that's a good move to make. You develop this guy because he does have a high ceiling. So that's where I'm hit at. As far as a fan, that's where my head is at. Is Tommy looking at it like that? Are we really trying to find guys who can contribute? Or are we just going to really spend these 2 second-round picks on a guy that plays in Siberia? You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at, man.
Yusuf Sanan.
Oh, I know. Where's he been at, man? I don't even think he's ever shown up. So, that's where I'm at, man.
Yeah, but we'll wrap it up there. We're gonna continue tomorrow for the rest of the week, of course, and the rest of the off season. Thank you guys again for listening all season. We hit 3,000 subscribers. Once again, thank you guys for riding with us this whole season. Of course, more episodes on the way. So make sure you guys check out the Game to Game podcast. Now make your second listen Game to Game. Every moment, every top performance, every result. Locked On Game to Game covers every game from across the NBA with local analysis that only Locked On can deliver. Follow Game to Game on Locked On NBA. Available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, wherever you get podcasts. Hell to the Wizards. Peace.